Brooks Cabina, our Texans insider, joins us, and this is big. We're heading down to the draft tomorrow. We'll be in Kansas City doing our shows live Thursday. If you're around and listening, you're out there, come hang out. We'll be out at Kelly's in Westport, and then on Friday we'll be at Cinder Block Brewery out up in the north. So if you're there, come hang out with us and enjoy what may be the most important draft in the history of the Houston Texans. And speaking of that draft, let's jump right into it, Brooks. What do you think? All right, we don't know what they're going to do because they have held this thing close to the vest, and most national people have no idea what they're going to do. But what do you think this draft and the decisions they make is going to be driven by?
I think it's going to be driven by the quarterback position. Even if they don't pick the decision is going to be a quarterback-oriented decision. This is a scenario where you look at the Texans in their full context. It's a team that the last two seasons have been defined by their miserable seasons, and the ticket sales have been down. The fans have been disgruntled. The ownership has been patient, but knowing that they've wanted to win. And Nick Caserio, the last 2 years, has gone through 2 losing seasons, 2 head coaches. And the Texans, like any NFL team, know that the quarterback position is more integral to the success of a team than any other position. And they have a prime opportunity to do that in this draft. And if they cannot count on being around this high in the draft next year, especially Nick Caserio, knowing that he himself has said that the clock is ticking on results for his end. So I don't think anybody, not just the Texans, any executive, anyone in the NFL, is making decisions based on what could possibly happen next year, whether they'd be available to take quarterbacks. If they don't take a quarterback number 2, it's either 1, because the one they wanted isn't there, 2, this is a personnel department that splits all of their draft board into tiers, which means whoever's available, they don't feel as comfortable with them at that position and feel like you can get them later, or they could feel like they can take those picks and package them in a deal to get somebody else. So it will be a quarterback-driven decision, and that doesn't necessarily mean that number 2 overall they pick one. I still think when you look at the landscape and those that I've talked to over the past several months, I still think that there's a possibility that Bryce Young would be available number 2. There's no indication that the Texans don't like C.J. Stroud. There is just all the possibilities. I saw today that rumor mills are going up that Will Levis could go number 1. That just shows to me that nobody knows what's going to happen, not even with the Panthers. And we've talked about it on this show. Whenever GMs, whenever owners, early in the draft process, as soon as February and March, where it started to leak out that the Panthers wanted Bryce Young, there's a reason why people say that to people. You either try to get someone to go ahead and trade up. The Texans were in position to do that. Maybe the Panthers really did like him 2 months ago. Their mind could have changed. So right now, it'll be interesting. We're running up to Thursday where the decisions will be finally made. And again, I think this is going to be a quarterback-oriented decision.
I've heard this multiple times, and I'm curious from your perspective, because it's like I have a hard time with it's a quarterback-driven decision, but yet planning for the future, if you don't like any of these guys, nobody's doing that. Because I believe that's a very healthy option. I believe that's a better option than drafting somebody at number 2 just because you don't want one of these quarterbacks or because you can't get a trade worked out and you can't move down. Like I think it's first and foremost Nick Caserio has to find a quarterback at some point in time. And if none of those guys, last year, everybody totally understands there were none available. This year, they're available, you don't like them. Next year could be a healthier crop of quarterbacks, probably will be a healthier crop of quarterbacks than what we have this year. I'm having a hard time understanding the thought. You're not the only one that said it. I've heard it multiple times. But I'm having a hard time understanding what the problem is of positioning yourself to be aggressive next year, whether it's for the next Aaron Rodgers in a trade or it's for the next Carolina Panther Bryce Young move.
Well, the part of that is that the administration, or the regime, I should say, has no guarantee that they're going to be back next year. So why make a decision that you think you're going to be around for? I mean, there could be securities you go up to, I'd just say you're Nick Caserio, you go up to Cal McNair and say, hey, am I going to be around next year? Cal would probably not say definitively yes. He'd say that there'd probably an evaluation over the year, just as Caserio would say that to any coach. So why make the decision based on thinking that you're going to be around next year? I mean, D'Amico Ryans has a little more security, knowing that he has a 6-year deal and he's going to go in 1 year. Texans can't really manage to fire another coach after 1 year. They've just gone through 3 in a row. So, but even that, if the Texans go 0-17, you'd probably be sitting there saying, well, maybe this guy's not cut out for it. What do you see out of that? So that's why I keep going back to that. There's no guarantee that Caserio will be back next year, and why would he make decisions based on nothing that he's done throughout this time other than, you look at the picks that they made last year. Derek Stingley was picked number 3 overall. That was a draft where there wasn't quarterbacks available that high that you would want to take. This time around, there are them available to take, and I could see situations with free agents right now that not free agents, veterans on other teams that they could possibly package their picks to trade for. Lamar Jackson being one, Trey Lance being another. You could think of others. Jordan Love right now with the Packers, they're sitting at 12. They're in range to get a quarterback. Could you say technically trade for their quarterback if you're comfortable for them, and then they trade up and get a quarterback that they like that's available as a rookie? There are options available to go and get someone right now, and I think that's not a mandate but an expectation from the Texans ownership down to compete now, and because they know that their fan base is not going to tolerate another year where they're just miserable on the field and nobody wants to watch them play football.
Brooks Cabina, our Texans insider, joins us as he does every Tuesday. See, this is my concern is, all right, I get, like, all right, I'm not going to push for them to bring in somebody and draft somebody with the number 2 pick or hell, even the number 12 pick that they don't believe in. But my thing is that I'm concerned is, starting to get concerned if they don't draft a quarterback here this year is, well, they're looking for something that's absolutely perfect. Like, what are they looking for? Because you got 5 different guys, and I include Bryce Young, because if Bryce Young is what you really wanted, then you would have done what you needed to do to go get him. And I'm not just talking about lose to the Colts, but I'm talking about go up and outbid Carolina if that's the guy you really felt like you wanted to go get. So it's 5 guys, and none of them were worthy enough for them to either go do what they needed to do trade-wise to go get or draft one at 2. And they're all 5, you could even argue, 5 different style of quarterbacks. Yeah. And we're seeing those styles work in the league. Right. And it's like, so if none of these dudes fit it, whoever will. Right. Well, how do we know next year that it will?
Nick Caserio said that last week, essentially saying, like, it's not a crapshoot, but it is a crapshoot in terms of picking like this. I don't see this year being all too much different than the years of high quarterback draft picks. Whenever you take a chance on a guy, and these are the chances that they have available. I don't get the sense. I mean, this is all the caveat, right? Whether the Texans like the quarterbacks available. I haven't seen their draft board. I don't know where their tiers are going through. I just have no inclination or no leniency that the Texans don't like the quarterbacks in this draft. So this is the opportunity that you have to go and make that happen. The offseason moves that they've made, they've bolstered their running back position. They've added wide receivers. Dalton Schultz is a heck of a tight end and gives a quarterback a chance. They've bolstered the interior of their offensive line. The tackles are safe. It's time to put a quarterback in and give him a chance. So if it's not these, then who? You go next year, say you draft a defensive edge rusher. Say you put in a moderate quarterback and say, quote unquote, we're going to plan for next year, which they're not going to do, but I'm just following this train of thought. You're probably going to be in the middle of the road, 5, 6, 7 wins, something like that. You're not going to be in position that you are right now to get one of those premier quarterbacks. So, and you would have to use whatever draft capital, player capital, whatever, to go and get the one that's available. So this is the opportunity. I think they look at it that way. I think they have confidence in their scouting department and the kind of decisions that they made. I know when we talked to James Lipford, who is the head of their college scouting department, he didn't really go into the negatives of any of the quarterbacks, but whenever he talked about the positives of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, he talked a lot about them as a 1A and 1B. They had looked at both quarterbacks for almost a year at that point, and I don't think that there's anything suggesting to me that they don't like the quarterbacks available in this draft.
All right, let's get out of the good stuff, man. Your trip, how was it?
It was great. It was amazing.
Where'd we go again?
I went to the middle of Brazil, near Manaus, along the Amazon and Negro River.
How was that? I mean, tell us a little something. It was fine. It was great. Thanks for asking. No, tell me a little something. What the hell did you do?
Well, I went there on a mission trip. I went there along with my church, spent a week there with the people, went to 3 small villages, and went there to support them and help them out and be there in that way. So, yeah, I mean,
did you get in the river? Did you get in a boat? Did you go through the jungle? Did you see a piranha?
All the above. We fished for piranhas in some of our free time.
You fished for a piranha in some of your free time?
Yeah.
With like a professional rod, or was it like...
It was a bamboo stick with a string and a hook.
Why are you making me force these details out of you?
Because I don't really talk about my personal life.
I mean, who fishes for a piranha with a bamboo stick and a hook and doesn't want to talk about it?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
When I look you in your eyes like I am right now, I don't.
Fishing with a bamboo stick.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you had that.
I also swam with some pink dolphin.
I can see that.
The river is red in a lot of places because of the chemicals that are in it. It's actually the same chemical that's in wine that makes it red. But
grapes.
Yeah. Not grapes. It's tonic. It's
the tannins.
What?
The tannins.
You know what? Chemist over there.
That's what makes things red?
Let's not get aggressive.
The thing is, we went in, so I stayed on a boat that was about 3 stories. We stayed outside on a hammock, slept in a hammock the whole time. It was hot. It's like August around there right now. And the river is 6 months up, 6 months down. So we came in, and the trees, the water was all the way up to the top of them. And I was like, are those trees? And then talking to some people that lived in the villages, I mean, obviously it's a little modest, but they're wooden houses. They're pretty much holed out, but sometimes those houses flood. River comes all the way up. I was talking to someone, and they said, I just fish out of my window sometimes. And then there were other times whenever 6 months the river is almost down to nothing, just like a creek. It's about 30 minutes to an hour to boat back to Manaus, which is the largest city nearby. And then whenever the water's completely gone, they have no access to get back. I mean, you got to walk, and they just don't have that capability. One of the major problems too is, if you're sick or you need surgery, healthcare is free over there, but the problem is getting there. And not a lot of them have money to do that. There are several different kinds of funds and support to do that for them, and they're incredibly content. That there were a lot of takeaways of just a lot of their resolve. They're not without their problems, just like we aren't. But just them showing me their way of life as well was really, really encouraging.
I'm jealous of that trip. I need to get out of the country a little bit more. I'm jealous.
Man,
of that trip.
Get out there and find you one of these H-Town dimes, take them on a date tonight, and tell them all about it.
Well, I got some time.
That's how you steal a heart right there now. Huh? I mean, that's it.
Feed you, dine you, host you, house you.
That's how you steal a heart.
That is Brooks. Could be. I'm serious business. That's good stories right there, man.
Yeah.
It's good stories. And then y'all can talk about all the cup checks going on in the NBA, the flopping going on with them cup checks.
I'll tell you, when I walked into this, room, I felt like I had to, protect myself a bit, be wary.
I'm thinking about walking around. I'm thinking about walking around cup checking people to see if they squirm as bad as those guys do. But we'll see.
I don't know if anybody fakes that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how you get fired.
What? Cup checking people? Oh, all right.
He's about to turn the corner.
That's Brooks Cabina, man. Thanks for joining us, buddy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. See you guys.